So now you guys should be able to see that we are recording. If you ever enter a lecture and you don't see that it's recording, let the instructor know, because we want to fix that. So a little bit about how we work day to day. Generally speaking, Slack and Zoom are the daily drivers. So Slack is where we'll post the link to the Zoom call, and it'll be a different link every day. Well, not every day, but depending on who the instructor is that day. I think we have 14 full-time people at Lambda School, the vast majority of which are instructors. Some you will meet today, some you won't. Some you won't actually meet for a couple of months, but that's all right. So normally when we do things at Lambda School, we chat in Slack because that stays there permanently. Whereas if we chat just inside of this Zoom chat here, it disappears. So basically forget that the Zoom chat exists unless there's something non-traditional or Slack is down or something like that. But generally speaking, Slack and Zoom, those are our home base. If you can, and you have an operating system that supports it, which I think most everybody should, you should download the Slack application. Don't just use it in the browser. It's more performant that way, and it's just a better experience, generally speaking. But yeah, it's good to meet you all. We'll have a full class. We might get up to 40 students on some days, depending on what the numbers are. We'll break off into different sections, and we'll have a lot of instructors at the same time managing things. So the goal is that we have somebody there that is able to help you at any time. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how the course works, what the structure is like. We can talk about hiring partners. We can talk about income share agreements, because I think most of you are on income share agreements. We can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Just wanted to have an informal get together, say hello, get everybody downloading the software, and get ready for Monday. So should we just open it up to questions? Or
yeah, just a quick note. So hi, I'm Ben Nelson, one of the co-founders of Lambda School. So I some of the lectures that you see will be me. Class starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time sharp on Monday. All the timing that we use is all Pacific time. So whenever we're posting times, if we don't specify a time zone, everything is off of Pacific time. We do that just because people are scattered everywhere, and so Pacific time is just kind of our standard time that we're putting everything off of. So 9 a.m. Pacific time, that's when we're going to get together, do an orientation, go into more of the nitty-gritty of the structure and how that will look. So we'll be sending out a calendar, but essentially plan on 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. That's when everything else will be. We'll send you a detailed calendar that will show like when things will happen during that time. But from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. you'll be in class. So Monday through Saturday or Friday. So just plan on that. We will be going over details about like course and stuff you can do to be ready. But right now, just your last couple days, the more you can do to get better at JavaScript, the better. Just generally with programming, the better you can get at JavaScript right now, the better you'll do. It's hard. Our course is difficult. It's challenging. We push you hard, but we provide you with the resources and the support you need to succeed. The major things we tell our students are be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. If you can do those things, you'll be okay. But it's hard. It's a grind, but it's amazing. Because through those challenges, that helps you to rise to the level where you can succeed. And at these companies that are hiring partners, the bar is high. You have to reach a very high standard, and that is not something that gets compromised. But if you can reach that, if you can get above that bar, then there are so many opportunities that open up for you. And so we have to push you hard, and we push you hard for 6 months. And it can be a little bit of a grind at times, but you learn fast. And our current students that we have right now are doing phenomenal. They're doing amazing, and they're their work and their ability is really at an incredible level, and you'll get to see some of the projects that they're working on, some of the things that they're doing. But it's a difference. There is a significant difference between the quality of the students that come through our program and the alternative. So it's hard, but it's great, and you'll learn a ton. General things too, like make sure you eat healthy, make sure you drink enough water, get enough sleep. Those things are, exercise, those four things really, like exercise, have a good sleep schedule, make sure you're eating healthy, drink a lot of water, make sure that you're taking care of yourself physically. That will help you to be able to learn better. There will be a physiological difference, and you will learn and retain information faster and more efficiently if you can take care of yourself physically. So that makes a huge difference. But yeah, those are just some little things. We'll go into that more in depth on Monday. But yeah, just some little pointers. So do everything you can, this last weekend before we start to be ready to just hit the ground running with JavaScript.
Cool. So I wanted to take a minute to talk about how we all got here, why we're here, what the purpose of Lambda School is, and how things are structured, just so we all are clear on what Lambda School is and what our goals are. So the main goal of Lambda School is to help everybody fulfill their fullest human potential. So for a lot of you, that means, this is Owen. He's a guest, just visiting us today. And yeah, so say hi to Owen. Me and Owen go way back. So Lambda School exists for a few reasons. Ben and I both come from rural towns in the middle of nowhere, basically. And we found that in those places that we were from, there were a lot of really talented people, really capable people that were held back from job opportunities and just overall opportunities only because they didn't have a way to access some of the resources that other people have access to. Not everybody can, has people that want to pay for college for 4 years, or some people have already gone to college, or, we just saw a lot of really bright people living below their potential, and they didn't have the same opportunities that Ben and I and a lot of the other Lambda School instructors ended up with. And so we wanted to extend those opportunities to other people. So I believe the vast majority of you in here are attending Lambda School on an income share agreement. So what that means is basically we have gone out and raised money from wealthy investors, from hedge funds, from people that were successful in Silicon Valley. I mean, that means Ashton Kutcher and Joe Montana. That means big, funds in Silicon Valley. That means, and basically we turn around and we spend millions of dollars on instructors to train you guys. So our instructors that you'll see have really deep chops. They have incredible backgrounds in computing. Candidly, most of them could be making more money elsewhere, but we really want to help you guys fulfill your fullest potential. So we have instructors. You'll see Caleb, who comes from Apple. Sean was working at NASA. You might meet Adam from Google. Ivan from Blizzard. So folks that have real backgrounds in computing, and they're here specifically to help you guys. One of the main differences between Lambda School and any other educational institution on planet Earth is that we're betting on you guys. So if you guys are not successful, Lambda School is not successful, and that is exactly how we want it to be. You will notice the difference in that from day one. You'll notice that everything is structured to help make you successful. That being said, most of it comes down to you at the end of the day. We will do everything we can to place you in internships, to connect you with hiring partners. We're spending millions of dollars on instructors and support staff and all of that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if you're not showing up, if you're not doing the work, it doesn't work out. So the first thing that I'd like to say is, we're really grateful for the people that are backing us and making this possible, because it's not cheap to hire talented engineers, and I think all of us are grateful that we've been given that opportunity. And then the other side of that is Lambda School is hard. It is just an incredibly difficult course because it has to be if we're going to create engineers at the level that people want to hire. 6 months is not a long time. We go much deeper than most code boot camps. I think CS1 today, which was the class that started in July, today they're like writing Dijkstra's algorithm in C and outputting it to web. I mean, it's hard engineering stuff. And there's going to be a lot of times that you are confused. There are going to be a lot of times that you feel like giving up. And you can ask the students in CS1 what the best way to get through that is, and all of them will tell you just keep trying. The only possible way that everybody in this room doesn't end up as a highly paid, highly talented software engineer is if they give up. Otherwise, you will make it, and it's that simple, and it's pretty much a guarantee. If you show up, you work hard, it will work. We already have students in CS1 that have job offers in the mid 6 figures. I think the highest we've seen is 140,000. That's not average for somebody who's been programming for a few months, but that is possible, I guess. So with that, Jason, that's a good point. We don't want to start on a negative note, but we also don't want people to come in thinking that it's easy. One of the most frustrating things for me, and the thing that makes me the saddest, is if there is a person that has a hard day and gives up. Because you're going to have a hard day, and I just want everybody to be okay with that day when it comes and power through it. Talk to the instructors. We have a lot of staff. We'll figure it out. Even if you don't, I guess, let me take another step back. The model of learning at Lambda School is likely different than anything you have ever experienced before. A lot of you, especially that breezed through high school and you got straight A's in college, you're used to being able to understanding everything that you touch in entirety before you move on. And with software engineering, because of how much there is, that's simply not possible, even if you get a CS degree. So there will be times when you feel like you don't entirely understand and you just have to move forward. And that's really, really odd for most people, and it's uncomfortable, but it has to be that way because there's no possible way we can teach you everything that there is to do with computing. That being said, just keep going. I guess that's my motivational speech, to just keep going if it gets hard. So Austin is, let me back up. So what would you guess the percentage of it doesn't work out is? There are people in the first couple of weeks that may drop out. Some of those are almost always for financial reasons, but some people give up. And that makes me sadder than anything else in this world. Because if you give up in the first couple of weeks, like, you just haven't given yourself a chance. It's very rare that somebody that makes it past the first couple of weeks drops out. So
We work with students that struggle. Like it's, we have an internal grading mechanism that we use. Like we have progress reports that we look at, with each one of you, and we track your progress, and you'll get assessments every week. And so we keep track of where you're at, and we do what we can to help those that are struggling and lift. And so it really, if you're on time and if you're where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, then it clicks and it works. And that's really the biggest thing. And it's, we're online. This is an online school, and this is a very different type of an educational environment than most of you have experienced. And it requires an extra level of self-discipline. But the cool thing is, if you can make that work, if you can succeed in this environment, then you will be equipped with the tools to succeed and have a very successful career. And so it's, it's hard, but it's super fun. And you're going to make great connections. Your classmates are all very motivated, hardworking people, and you're going to come out of this with a fantastic network, great skills, and you get to learn from amazing instructors and a lot of fun stuff. We have guest speakers that come in from companies all over. We had a guy come in from Baylor Medical School and talk about like the human genome and machine learning and stuff like that. We have had a guy come in from Pinterest and someone from Google, and anyway, just lots of fun stuff.
So I want to address a couple of questions. I'll start with the one that Austin is asking, which is what percentage of Lambda graduates have to succeed in order for Lambda to stay successful? That's a difficult one to answer because there are many different levels of success. I will say that based on the quality that we're seeing in the first Lambda School class, I would be shocked if any of them long-term end up without a software engineering job. Part of the model of Lambda School is that we hedge our bets by over-preparing you now instead of sending you out into the job market unprepared. So I'm sure you'll see a lot of people that graduate from boot camps and they can't get a job, or they say the junior market is flooded and I'm having a hard time finding a spot. Like, it's still hard to get a job. It's never easy, but we hedge our bets by making sure that our students are very, very well prepared. So as you'll notice already, we're twice the length of most code boot camps. I mean, you can pop in general sometime and ask people who have attended other code boot camps how Lambda School compares. And without fail, you'll learn that Lambda School is much more in-depth, much more difficult, and that you'll be much, much better prepared for the job market than you would be at any boot camp in the world. I don't care which one it is. Drayshawn asks, will you be reporting results to SIR? Yes. Ours are going to be a little bit different than traditional because we're a longer course, but we'll be reporting them all the same. We really, really think that we can hit a 100% hiring rate, but there's no guarantee. Like, we can't make sure that everybody has hired. I mean, that's not up to us, right? That being said, we really, really think that that Lambda School graduates are prepared to enter the workforce, and we make sure of that. So just stick it out, trust the system, even when it's hard, and you'll be awesome. The reason that Lambda School is structured the way it is all goes back to the business model. So Lambda School doesn't succeed unless you guys succeed. I'm sure most of you understand that. If you don't get a job, you'll never pay Lambda School a penny. And we think that's the way it should be. We actually think that's the way all schools should be. And it makes us do things differently. Even the most well-intentioned boot camp that you're paying $20,000 up front, they just don't have a reason to make sure that you have internships or that you have really expensive, high-quality instructors. So it's just quite a bit different than anything you've ever experienced. One other thing I want to point out is that you guys are here because we believe in you. aren't publishing publicly the acceptance rates like we used to because they scare people away. But our acceptance rate is right around 3%. So for every 100 applications that we receive, we accept about 3 people. That's a high bar, and it's difficult to clear. But you guys are here because we believe in you, and we bet on you, and we're all in this together from this point forward. So we need you to succeed just as badly as you need to succeed, and you'll notice the difference. Yeah, I'd encourage you guys to ask people in general what their experience has been like, how they would rate Lambda School on a scale of 1 to 10 even. We're totally fine with you doing that. Probably a lot of you are here because of that. You've talked to people and you've heard things about, we're definitely not perfect, but we try really hard. And if there's something we're not doing well, we do everything we can to correct that. And along those lines, we'll be asking for feedback frequently, because we use that feedback to fine tune everything that we do as a school. And yeah, it makes a really big difference. I want to introduce you guys to some of the other people. We obviously won't be able to see everybody today. As I said, Lambda School has 14 and counting full-time people. I think 10 of those are instructors or TAs. So we'll keep the ratio really low. You'll have a lot of people to be able to lean on. But let's talk to Ryan for a minute. Ryan, you still there?
Oh, yeah. How's it going, everyone? Cool.
I need to unpin myself. There you go.
Awesome. Well, I am really excited to be here. So just to introduce myself, I'm very similar to you. I started this process without touching a line of code about 4 years ago or so. Maybe it's been a little bit less than that. I can't remember. It's been a really cool journey. Maybe it's been about 3 years. So regardless, I've been all over the place to different boot camps, instructing, mentoring, as well as learning, and then working professionally in the field. I love the web, and so that's my wheelhouse. That's where you guys will get to know me. In the first 13 weeks of your program, you're going to get sick of me and the web team as we continue to provide instruction on the tools that we've decided to throw at you as our curriculum. And so anytime you need to just chat, to relate to somebody, to to feel like you may have made the wrong decision. I've been there. I've felt that many times along my path, and promise I can relate with you on that. So I'm really excited to be here, to learn with you, and to hopefully provide to you sort of a warm sense of excitement around the subjects that we'll be teaching. So that being said, before we let you go today, we actually have our first little homework assignment for you over the weekend. So I've gone and created a start day video on how to use and operate with our flow here with Git. So those of you who are already familiar with Git, it's going to be kind of boring, but I've created a little project for you to complete before class on Monday. So we're already throwing you into it. And I'll announce that as soon as this meeting is over. I'll send you the video link, and I will send you the link to the little GitHub repository that you'll be playing around with. And what this is going to do, it's going to show you how we essentially get your code into our hands. So it's going to go through that whole process, and you're going to be pros at it by Monday. And if you have any hiccups with it, feel free to reach out. A lot of students in our help channels are here from previous or are in cohorts as well, and so they'll be able to help you. A lot of them work through the weekends, which I don't highly recommend. I definitely recommend taking a break when needed, but even every once in a while, I have been known to throw an impromptu Sunday afternoon code along with Ryan. I've done that a couple of times, so I'm always not always available, I do have a family of my own to take care of. And I do like to ride my mountain bike. So as much time as I get on my mountain bike, the better you will be as well. Just remember to hit the ground running. Just keep a positive attitude. Ben and Austin have hit it right on the head by saying this is going to be different than any other experience you've had in your life as far as education goes. And I can't remember a time where I've ever worked for a company whose values are completely aligned with you, with our clientele, right? This is really, really exciting. I've seen this go from the day one of the very first cohort that we started with, the full-time cohort, and just a few months ago, and to see where it's at now and where we're going, it's absolutely amazing. So, yeah, once again, just really excited to be here. Just wanted to spread that positive energy and that excitement, and just say hello.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Any other instructors happen to be in here? I think. Who is that? Who did I hear? Ty. Where are you at, Ty?
I'm all the way down at the bottom of the list.
There you are.
All right. So, hey, y'all. I'm Ty. I'm the lead TA at Lambda School. So, I am the closest person to y'all right now. When I say what I mean when I say that is, I didn't start programming until I started at Lambda School in April. I killed it at the first full-time course. So I started not over a year ago, under a year ago. And I'm here today to tell you a couple of things. This is not easy. Don't expect it to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Yes, you get to bother me. So I have a special list of things here that I was going to say. Lead TA, first full-time cohort, killed it there. Big things. This is not going to be easy. Don't feel that you have to complete everything. Like, this is not school. This is not college. We don't expect you to finish everything. As long as you get 30% of it, but you're in your chair for 100% of the time we need you here, you will make enough connections in terms of knowledge that things will start to make sense. Like, don't panic the first 3 weeks when you get HTML, CSS, JavaScript 1 and 2, data structures, and React, Redux. Like, that stuff is not going to be easy. And I'm saying it 6 times so that it drills into your head. We don't expect you to learn everything. But the more you pick up now, the less you'll have to pick up later. And trust the process. I'm here now. I started out 2 years ago as an IT guy, and then I left my job, started this coding boot camp, did this thing, and here I am. Like, this is not anything I could have ever planned for. So I'm super grateful and thankful for Lambda School for where I am today. And in 6 months, hopefully you all will feel the same.
Awesome. Do we have, I'm looking through the list to see. I see Ty, talk to Ryan. Oh, Karen's on. Are you paying attention, Karen? She's over admissions.
Yep, hi.
Oh, hey, there's Karen. How many of you talked to Karen? If you talk to Karen, talk in Slack. A few people talk to Karen. Awesome. Yeah. Do you have anything to say, Karen?
No, I'm just so excited for everybody, and I hope everybody can just maximize their potential and get everything out of this that it has to offer.
Awesome. Yassine asked a really good question. Other schools or boot camps push everyone through even though they shouldn't really have passed. How does Lambda School handle a student that isn't as proficient as they should be? That's a really good question. And we'll basically have a one-on-one with each student once a week. So you will get to know the instructors through that. We'll be looking at your code. We'll be looking at how you're doing. We'll be trying to figure out if there's anything we need. resources set aside if anybody is struggling in any way that we can deploy to help you out. So if you're really, really struggling, don't be afraid to ask. And if worse comes to worse and you need to repeat a portion of a course, we can do that. It's not something I even like to talk about because a lot of people think they need to repeat things when they don't actually need to. They're just not confident. There's a difference between not being confident and being stuck. So it's okay to not be confident and move on. You'll have to do it at some point. Otherwise, we're going to be in here for 10 years before you can go get a job. So we'll walk through that. We'll have a really good sense based on your one-on-ones, based on your code challenges that we do each day. We're going to go into daily schedule a little bit more in depth on Monday. I don't necessarily want to go into that. Basically, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's how we handle folks that are falling behind. We have a lot of different mechanisms to take care of that. So let's see. I want to talk about the income share agreement just a minute because so Austin asked, did you mention in the chat weeks ago that CS1 through CS6 will be able to attend all future curriculum tracks? That is a really good question, and yes, that is true. You may not be able to attend some live because there will be different circumstances, but at a minimum, you will have access to all of the courses that we do, whether it's blockchain or artificial intelligence, all that stuff. Again, this goes back to once you're a Lambda School student, you are always a Lambda School student. And our only purpose is to help you fulfill your greatest potential. And if that means helping you guys become machine learning engineers, we want you to be machine learning engineers. We are on the same team. And that's really, really cool. So right now we have an artificial intelligence class, artificial intelligence, machine learning. That one will start in a couple months. Malcolm, who used to teach that course at MIT, will be leading that. So that will be a really special course. We also have cryptography, cryptocurrency, and blockchain. We're still figuring out exactly what we should call that. Niraj, who's been building blockchains for a bunch of different startups, will be teaching that one. And then we're working on some other stuff, data science. We'll figure out all the details later. I don't want to promise something that doesn't exist, but we'll give you guys access to the archives as Lambda School graduates because we're on the same team. And we hope that will be really special. And I'd love to see somebody complete Lambda School, get a good job, study machine learning on the side, get a better job. Like it's a really special thing to have everybody on the same page and everybody shooting for the same thing. So yeah, with that being said, let's talk about the document that makes that possible. Our income share agreement. Some of you have paid up front. That applies to you as well. And we'll talk about some of that. So let me share my screen here. We're going to have a look at the income share agreement. And I see your questions on the other stuff. I will answer those as well. So this right here is the standard Lambda School Computer Science income share agreement. What this means is basically it lets us train you guys without any upfront cost. So a lot of you were asking me, over the past few days, is there a deposit? There's no way you're literally going to do this without, my screen sharing is pause, resume. There's no way you guys are doing this for literally no upfront cost, but that is absolutely the case. You guys will not pay a penny to Lambda School until you have a job that meets these criteria, which is over $50,000 a year. Also, you will not pay Lambda School a penny if your job is not related to software engineering or computer science. So when we say we're betting on you, we literally are betting on you. We are literally putting dollars into you guys hoping that we can get you high-paying jobs on the other side. So a lot of questions are around, okay, let's say I start getting paid, $100,000 a year. What does that look like on the other side? So the first question that a lot of people ask is there a cap? Meaning, what if I start making $1 million a year? The maximum you could possibly pay Lambda School is $30,000. So if you start making $1 million a month, you'll pay Lambda School $30,000. Everything else goes away. You have access to all the courses forever. That's the best case scenario for everybody. Worst case scenario, let's say you don't get a job. You don't pay us anything. Let's say you get a job that pays $60,000 a year. So you start paying a percentage of your salary and you lose your job. The minute you lose your job, you stop paying. Basically, it's kind of like a loan, but if it's a loan, it's the most forgiving loan in the history of humanity. There's no interest rate. There's no amount that needs to be repaid. We just want to, obviously we have to keep the lights on as a school, and our instructors aren't cheap, but we also want to make sure that that's only the case if you guys are successful. And we think that's a fair deal. I'm curious to hear if you guys think that's a fair deal, that if, we help you get a job, then, you can pay us back. If not, then, we don't make money, and that's it. So a couple questions people ask. First of all, let me drop a link to the income share agreement here. And you can read all the details and sign if you want to continue attending Lambda School. So let's see. First question, is the payment monthly or yearly? The payment is monthly. So actually when you sign the income share agreement, we'll have you give us access to see a bank account. That is the bank account that you will use when you get a job and your paychecks are coming in. And when we see a paycheck coming in, we know how much you're being paid, and we'll pull out a small percentage of that. And that's how it works. That is pretty much it. It's based on gross salary, not net. So in some states, you're able to deduct what you pay Lambda School on your taxes. In some, you may not be able to. I'm not entirely sure of every state. But yeah, that's basically how it works. Some of you, in fact, many of you will not have a bank account that works with our income share agreement. The only way we can do this is if we have access to a bank account. So there are a couple banks that will let you, for free, create a bank account, and it takes not very long at all. One is Simple, one is Ally. Everybody will qualify for a free bank account. So, we do need you to use a bank account that we can see, just for obvious reasons. So if you don't have a bank account that supports this income share agreement, then just create an account with Simple or Ally. They're great banks. They're very tech savvy. You can do everything that the average bank would need to do. And you can even, I think with both of those banks, you can set up an immediate transfer so that when your paycheck comes in, you can transfer it to another account the next day. It's really, it shouldn't be an issue. You can, the link I posted in Slack, you can use that link to sign the income share agreement right there. So once you do that, you're done, you're set, and you won't have to think about it again until you have a great job. Let's see, other questions. If you don't get a job, what happens? Basically, if you don't get a job, we do everything we can to keep finding you a job forever. If for some reason we can't help you find a job, then after, I think it's 5 years, the contract just goes to zero. But really, we're trying to help you find a job from the minute you graduate for as long as we can. I can't imagine a scenario that somebody doesn't get a job ever. So we really think that it will be a guaranteed success for everybody, but obviously we can't promise that. So will just be working with you. The other thing that this will do is, just so you guys are aware, we do request authorization along with this to see your taxes. So that means that when you file your taxes, Lambda School gets a copy. We use that just to verify that all of the income that you have is being accounted for. So, if you're working freelance gigs or that kind of thing, you'll want to let us know about that. That just helps us make sure that everybody's on the same page, and that we're not calculating anything incorrectly and that kind of thing. Internships. Let's talk about internships because honestly, this is something that we decided to do last month, and it's working pretty well. So at the final 6 weeks of Lambda School are set aside for a project. You'll be doing 2 big projects at Lambda School. One, you'll be building all the way throughout. So with each new thing that we learn, you'll be adding that element to your project. And then at the end, we have an additional 6 months to build another project. So you'll have a really solid portfolio by the time you're done. And that gets a long way into getting hired. We decided that it might be beneficial for the students, instead of that 6-week project kind of making something up, they could intern with a company for 6 weeks. So I basically reached out and we found everybody internships for those 6 weeks. We think that will be really good. It might take some refinement to make sure that we're getting everybody the right internships, but I assume that's something that we'll plan on doing. That's probably not the kind of internship that is guaranteeing a job on the other side, but it's real work at a real company. They may want to hire you. Regardless, it's good experience working with a real team. Some are paid, most are not paid. We'll take as many paid internships as we can find. Most are remote. Some are in San Francisco. Some are in New York. Some are in other places. But yeah, that kind of all depends. What's the location part of the hiring partners equation? I will be sharing a list with you guys on Monday of the hiring partners that we currently have. I think the biggest names are Slack, IBM, the Air Force, PayPal, and then it goes down to smaller companies that hire a lot of people that you guys have probably never heard of. Most are in San Francisco or New York, not all of them. And Tina's asking a really good question. Is relocation mandatory? We do not require relocation, and we actually don't force you to work. So if you get a job offer for $100,000 and you don't want to work that, we don't force you to take that job. So you are entirely your own person. You can work wherever you want to work. We just, if you meet those thresholds, we would like to get paid so that we can keep Lambda School running in the future. When you complete the program on your resume, do you add old jobs that have nothing to do with software engineering? We'll go over that in depth. It depends on what it is. Some you'll just leave off, some you'll leave on. But we have a resume section. We'll have people reviewing your resumes. We'll have all of you working with recruiters and doing everything that we can on our end to help you guys get placed. We at Lambda School, we haven't done this for the 6-month program, but we've done this a lot at other programs and other schools. We'll even teach you guys how to negotiate the highest salaries. We'll help you guys we'll be practicing technical interviews basically every day. You'll be ready. It's still not easy, but you'll have all the tools that you need. I hope that as we move along, we'll have more job offers coming in during the program. We don't want you to focus on that during the program because it's a huge distraction, but there's a non-trivial number of students that have already received job offers, and that's great.
Let me jump in and say something real quick.
Yeah.
Something that's cool is that when we meet with these hiring partners, they're they're really excited about what we're doing. And one of the main reasons they're excited is because a lot of these, these boot camps have come into being, and they have, they train people who are, a lot of the top boot camps will train, really solid beginners, that'll come out, but their students often just do not have quite the skills that are necessary to succeed long term. And when we designed our curriculum, we worked backwards from our hiring partners and from these companies. We said, what do you need in a new engineer? Like, what are the skill sets that you need? What are the deficiencies that you're seeing in bootcamp grads? And we looked at that and we worked backwards. So some of the interesting things, so like to put it in perspective, the first 3 months of your program is kind of a practical approach. We focus on front-end web development, so client-side development within a web application. We focus on server-side development, so servers, databases. This powers 95% of the code that's out there is connected with some kind of a server, and then mobile applications, so like iPhone apps, Android apps. So that's the first 3 months. So you do that full time for 3 months, and then we have 6 weeks where we go in lower to the hardware. We get into like memory management, operating systems, C. We get lower to the hardware. These are the CS fundamentals that you would get in a CS program at a university. And then the last 6 weeks, that's when we would do either an internship or a group project with your peers, some things like that. To put that in perspective, most 3-month boot camps, they do 6 weeks of instruction in full stack web development, followed by 6 weeks of like working on a group project. You guys are going to be getting 18 weeks of full-time study into these topics that are taught at computer science degrees. Then you get your 6 weeks of group application time or an internship. And it's something that, this is something that companies want, and we can afford to do this because we don't charge you up front. You're paying us once you can afford to. So we can provide you up front with this high quality training and with this experience, and then you pay us back once you're able to, because most of you can't afford to pay for this kind of an education right now, but we can give you the skills you need, give you the training that you need, get you into these high paying jobs, and then you can pay us back. And then that's how we can succeed as a company, and that's how we can grow. So our hiring partners are really excited, and our list grows every single day. I would not be surprised. I mean, we have close to 100 hiring partners right now. By the time you guys graduate, I wouldn't be surprised if it's several times that. It's exciting, and there's a lot of interest surrounding what we're doing here. And anyway, it's going to be fun to see what you guys are capable of doing and what you're capable of achieving.
Yeah. Just to put that in perspective, as Ben mentioned, relative to a code boot camp, we have 3 times as much instruction. You will notice that if you talk to people that have graduated from code boot camps at the end. I mean, I love talking to the students in CS1 when their friends went to another code boot camp. It's not comparable. We're in a different planet. We actually, hour for hour, we cover about 75% of the core track of a full CS degree. So you'll be playing ball with university computer science grads. Luckily, we don't have generals to worry about. We don't have a bunch of other stuff. We can focus on building real projects and real teams with real tools. We don't have to do research, and we don't have to talk about the theory unless it's relevant. So we're really, really convinced that this will be the finest place in the world to become a software engineer. I guess Caleb isn't here, but you'll meet Caleb on Monday. So Caleb comes to us from Apple, where he built the curriculum that is used in hundreds of universities and high schools for Apple. So he was actually building Apple's, learn to code curriculum.
He led their team that did all the, he was the head of instructional design.
And you guys will, you'll notice the difference that somebody like that brings relative to a code boot camp. So we kind of started out kind of on a negative, scary tone, but there is no reason to not be excited. I think so if you look at, any program in the world, you guys will be in the best position to start a career as a software engineer relative to anybody anywhere. I think by the time you guys graduate, that will even be true for Stanford and MIT grads.
Because our vision is that with your 6 months of training right now, add on 3.5 years of work experience and compare where you would be at to someone who's starting a bachelor's degree right now in computer science. And I don't think there's going to be any comparison. I think you're going to be hiring the people that they'll be finishing their program in 4 years.
But yeah.
So
with that said, we're really excited. Aaron's asking if we need to have studied advanced math. No, you don't. Let's see. Austin is asking, hey, I had a couple friends join Lambda School in my location. Can you share any ideas that would lead to what you guys have talked about? That's talking about as far as different locations go. So you guys will find that we have early communities building up in different areas. So we have channels for them. We have SF Bay Area. We have Austin. We have Dallas Fort Worth. We have Seattle. We may have others that I'm not a member of because I don't live in those areas. We're building out really strong networks in each of these cities, which is fun. But yeah, we'll figure out what the details for that means. But the more, if we have to focus on geographic locations, then the more students we get in each area, the more resources we can deploy to hiring partnerships in those areas. And I think the folks in Austin meet up regularly. I know the folks in Utah meet up from time to time. I think the Seattle folks are organizing meetups. So hopefully as we get more students, that becomes much more frequent. Yeah, I don't know of an Iowa network yet. We'll have to work on that one.
Let me jump in on
Mark's
question.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So you're asking, is the school lean towards becoming a front-end developer, a back-end developer? So with the first 3 months of instruction, we focus pretty heavy on JavaScript. And the cool thing with JavaScript is that you can use it to develop on native mobile clients, so like iOS apps, Android apps, so like for the iPhone or Android devices. You can make desktop applications. If you have Slack downloaded on your computer, it's actually built using JavaScript. So that's there's a cool library there. You can even use it to with hardware, like automating drones and Internet of Things devices and stuff like that. You can use it as a server-side language with Node and Express. And so we get you really, really good at JavaScript, but then we also teach you C and get you lower to the hardware, so you have the flexibility to branch out. The offers that a lot of our students are receiving are in relation to like mobile development positions, front-end development positions, and then back-end and full stack. So you would be highly qualified for any of those positions. A little more towards like front-end and back-end development. And so backend, again, what that means, like you're working on your like servers and databases that different clients interact with. A client is like the web browser or a mobile app or your treadmill or your microwave, like your fridge. Like those are different clients. So you'll be really good at web application development. You'll be really good at server-side development with databases and all of that. And then you'll be pretty good with mobile development. So, but you'll understand the fundamentals and you'll understand all the theory. And so you can branch out into pretty much anything you want. But those will be the areas that you'll have the most practical skills in. But you will have a strong foundation so you can branch out. Yeah, good question.
Cool. Let's see. Get Lambda to sponsor events in Austin. Yeah, we'd love to sponsor events, to get involved in local areas. But yeah, I think that's it for now. We'll post this in the channel. We'll start a document that has all the videos. So we do have archives for everybody that you can review at your leisure if there's something that you're stuck on. That's one of the really cool things about everything being online. And then Ryan will send out some other stuff, and we'll get ready to start on Monday. Ryan will post that homework in the channel, and yeah, thanks so much for being around. We're really excited to have you guys. Excited to be on board with the folks that we're ready to bet on. So thanks so much. We'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks, guys.